Alright, guys. So, this isn't my normal content. I know. It's fine. It's fine. We could play a lot of different games. It's fine. So, I just wanted to show this game because I thought it was really, really, like, kind of pretty how it ended. Just like, yo, I didn't even see this coming together, and it all came together. I was so happy. So, let's, let's play it out. Right? So, I was like, let's try some different, like, sort of like opening here because I don't like I've been playing like e4 for a while and I'm just like I'm tired of that. I don't know very much about chess, right? Like about openings or anything. I was just like, you know what, e4 is usually what I do. I want to do something different, so I did c4, and I felt like there was like probably something I was gonna miss, and it was just gonna result in a checkmate like really fast, right? And I was fine with that. Like it's like all right, I could learn something new from playing this like different position. But they like met me here, and I defended my pawn. We'll just go back a few moves, right? So I play that. They attack. I defend with the knight. They defend with the pawn, and I push my pawn up. And I was like, this is be like a really good position. Like I could probably castle queenside here in a couple moves if I need to. And they bring the bishop over, and I'm like, well, castling that side isn't very good anymore. So I put the bishop here, to allow the queen and rook to see each other, and kind of line this up. I'm thinking like, I'm moving like rook to b1. I'm thinking like, all right, maybe we could push this here. We could take the center, and then move the knight over, like stuff like that's what I'm thinking about. And I'm just looking at their position, like they're not developed very much, and I'm like pretty open here. So they push a pawn here, which I feel like is like we've got this whole row here, and they they push the pawn directly into the side of my bishop here, right? To I guess defend. Like if why not here? Why not here? I don't understand. So you do this, and I'm just like, all right, well I'll just push this pawn up, get it up here, right? Take some space. They move the knight forward, but it doesn't like the knight moving forward only has one space to go to, and it's not very good there. Like it just doesn't seriously attack anything because the rook holds the pawn. Um, so I don't see the point in that. So I push over here. I'm like, I'm gonna take more space. They're giving it to me, so I'm gonna take more space. I need that, and I'm like, all right, well, let's bring the knight out. Let's keep developing. And they decided to take over here, and this shook me. I was like, wait, they're taking now? Like, what is it that I missed? Like, did I miscount? Like, did they have an extra piece defending? I was freaking out. I was like, wait, did I miss something? Like, I can just take, right? So I take, and they're like, and then they push this pawn up. And I was like, okay, I see the idea here, but I still have this, and then they have this, and then I don't have anything, right? So I see their idea, but the knight's not here in time, right? The knight's not like the knight's covering this square and this square. It's not covering this square, right? So I was like, well, what if we just disconnect the bishop so the bishop can't attack anymore, and then it's just this, right? Um, so I pushed the pawn up, and now we have this and we have this, and this is kind of a fork. So uh, the bishop is worth more than the pawn, and this pawn isn't threatening anything yet. It's just attacking another pawn. But by taking here, you now give me the option to go here, and this threatens the knight. And that also prevents, like, this is covered by the knight, and the bishop, and the queen. So, like, there's no chance they're fighting for this square here. And by moving this pawn, moving this, not pawns don't move like that. Moving this pawn to here, I'm now opening up the file, right? And I can swing my knight over, or my rook over. I could swing my queen over at any point and take control of the open file here. because I have tempo on the knight. The knight has to move, right? So they move that, and then they disregard the knight, and I didn't see this coming at all, which I should have. They throw the check on the king, and here, like immediately, this made sense to me. Like this doesn't look like a good move because then you're just offering a queen trade. Um, and yeah, I get like material on the back end of the trade, but it just didn't feel good to offer the queen trade. So like the knight felt right. Moving the king didn't look good to me because there's another check here they can throw, and it just gives them extra moves. Um, and then I like, where am I gonna go? Like here? Like I don't want my king out here. So moving the king didn't seem like a good option. Moving the queen didn't seem like a good option to me. Um, so instead, I just went for the knight move. They moved their knight out of jeopardy here, um, which makes a lot of sense. So they gained a step of tempo by throwing the check in. Um, but I see that my bishop's kind of weak right now because the knight's no longer threatening to come in here and attack the pawn. The pawn's pretty safe aside from this move right here, like moving this forward one, which I did have covered when the knight was here. Right when the knight was here, I had this square covered, but now it's just defended by the bishop. Right, so this pawn might have chances to get up here now because I blocked off the queen that was also defending that square. So I'm worried about this move a little bit because I don't really want to move the bishop because the bishop's defending the knight. So it would be like I just have to allow that pawn to sit there for a minute. So I move the pawn up, thinking, all right, well let's take control of that square with another piece, and this also enables my bishop to start being active in the game because it's never going here, right? I want a castle eventually, so this pawn has to stay there. Um, so I'm thinking like, all right, well we can move the bishop now. So this is furthering my development. They move here, attacking the bishop, and I'm like, yeah, that's not really a threat. Like, all right, come get my bishop, I'll take your queen. Come get my knight, I'll take your queen. Right? Like, what are you gonna do? Come take my knight, I'll take your queen. Right? Like, it just they're not really pushing anything here. So they move back to that square because they're like, all right, well this isn't possible anymore. And this keep with me, guys. Like this ends quite beautifully. So I line up my queen and the bishop here, and I'm thinking like this and this looks good to me. Just having them extra defense. So like now I'm looking at this with like a little bit of vision here. You know, like if I ever want to move this bishop out, it can defend this. You know. So I'm like looking like, all right, everything looks kind of like good and well defended if I move here. I was debating moving here and doing that thing, but it just didn't feel like it didn't feel right. I don't know why. It just didn't feel right to put the bishop there. You know, like it would have been like everything is kind of like well defended there, but this felt right. So they moved this. I'm like, what does that even do? Like, what are they even attempting to do here? I'm like, are they trying to come like here somehow? Right? Like, what is this move? So I castle. My bishop's out of the way, so I can castle now, and I can line this up. And then they make this move here, and I was like, what? Like, I'm just like snap trade, right? Right? I just boop, just snap trade, easy. That's yeah, bam. And they take back with the pawn, and I'm like, okay, well we can shut that down real quick. Boop, done. This pawn's not doing anything for the rest of the game. Promise you. Right? It's just gonna sit there. It's gonna stare at my pawn, and they're just gonna have a nice little chat, right? As peasants do. So they move the rook up, and this makes zero sense to me. What is this rook doing? Defending this from what? What piece do I have? Like where's the attack? I don't see an attack on this pawn anywhere. Are you trying to move the pawn up? Right? Are you trying to move the pawn here to defend here? But this also isn't like there's no. Where's the attack here? I don't understand. Like what is this? Like move it up here. Move it like right here. Move it here so it has the file, and then you can move. But you push the pawn up and threaten this pawn, or like threaten to take this, or like you give yourself room. Why here? Anyway, so I move the knight. I'm like, Yeetus thy royal selfeth out of here. Um, because knight's defended, uh, pawn's defended, knight's defended, bishop's defended. Everything holds. Everything holds. Get out of here, right? So queen comes in, and I'm just like, well, I wanted my knight here anyway, right? Um, I just want my knight here. This is the spot I want my knight to be in. And if I get it there, I've got ideas of this. Um, but we're not ready for that yet, but we're definitely ready for this move here. Um, so I was like, all right, let's do it. So threw the knight there, defended. He's got no real attack on this pawn here because this pawn's here, this pawn's here, this pawn's all the way back here, and I've got this square defended. So it's fine, right? 3 castles. And I'm like, this looks so wrong. Why is this so wrong? Why does this look bad to me? And then I saw it. I saw this week. Um, I was like, do I need to make another move first? And I was like, yeah, I need to make another move first. I gotta take control of this file before I move my queen up, right? I move my queen over. I'm like, all right, we have control of the file. The knight is stuck here. It can no longer take this pawn. It can't do like a fancy like trade for a knight or whatever with the queen. You know, like I just have control of this file now. This knight is frozen. So the queen comes back to defend the knight, I guess, get herself out of danger or something. And I'm just like, this is just wrong, right? Like now I just get my knight here, right? My knight just comes here, and then I attack the rook, and my knight's defended, and the pawn's defended. So right. So I move my knight in. I'm like, all right, you got to move your rook. And they oblige. They're like, all right, I'll move my rook. And I'm like, that king's looking juicy. That king is looking so juicy. I've got rook. I've got rook. I've got queen. Like there's some bishop ideas here to line stuff up with the pawn I have defending here. This guy right here is in my way. But I've got like some knight moves that I'm looking at. That this guy's in the way, like. But I've got the ideas. So I'm like, all right. So I move my rook over. I'm like we're gonna bring the whole party, right? Because I'm thinking if we move this and then move this, we attack here, right? But if I just move this up, then he just gets to take, and I have no pieces that can get there. The rook doesn't move that way, right? The queen's here, the bishop's here, but like nothing that defends this square. So I move my rook over, so it can defend this spot. And then I didn't see they could even do this. I was like, that's just wrong, right? Because now I just move my knight, and like you're in check, and you have to do something about being in check, right? And I already have a square that I like having my knight on. You know, I'm like, all right, well, let's take this way, because this is just I get your queen for free, right? So they move the rook over, and I'm like, this is snap decision right here. Bam, free rook. I got a knight, I got a rook, easy. I got a knight and a rook for a pawn. Like, give me more. So they take the queen, and here I was looking, and I was like, the king's here, my queen's here. So normally I wouldn't be able to move my knight because I just like trade queen. But I'm up a rook. I'm like, All right, so what if we do just move the knight and trade the queen, right? Because then the queen's pinned. The king doesn't really have anywhere to go. I was like, oh, we could do better. We could do so much better. We have a check on the king that, in theory, just wins the queen, right? So we do it. We're like, check. King moves in. I was like, okay, so queen's still defended. Queen's still defended. How do we do this? I was like, what if we had a discovered check with the bishop move to defend the knight? I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is so cool because this is like, there's two places you can go, right, with the king, and both places your queen gets 8. I was, that is the, this was, this move right here felt so just, I'm just gonna replay that, okay? This was just so beautiful to me. It was just like elegant. Just, I'm gonna back up my knight and put you in check and win your queen in the same move. Ah, I love it. I love this move so much. So, he picked the back square instead of the front square, which I guess makes sense. I take the queen, and at this point, there is no move black can mate to stop checkmate. Checkmate's coming in one. Checkmate is coming in one. I move there. Just whoop, right? You can move any of your pieces. You can move the pawn forward. You can move this pawn forward. Move uh, this pawn forward. You can move the rook anywhere you wanted. Right? It could even, you could even go all the way down and take this pawn. You can move the knight uh, to the only square the knight can move, which doesn't really look good. You can move the bishop here. You can bishop here. Like all of your legal moves, none of them stop queen to d or queen to c8 checkmate. Because queen to d8 checkmate covers these squares. Knight holds the queen. Bishop holds the knight. Rook holds the file. So this is all illegal for the king to be on, and that's checkmate. I was very happy with that, and at that point, black resigned because they saw the writing on the wall. Didn't even throw the like random like, all right, I'm gonna block all my pieces in. Checkmate, right? So I was pretty happy with that. It says here 3 mistakes, 2 blunders. I'd have to look on what those are. I think a lot of it had to do with the opening. Like I just wasn't familiar, but I thought that ending was just this move. This move. I would 100% do it again. This was just the best move. Just ah, just looks good. It just looks good. I love this. Beautiful. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you have a great day.